Oh, welcome to the Sharpe Way Show. So happy to have you with me this evening. We're past 7 p.m. on the East Coast, and it's Friday, and I was not supposed to do an AMA today, and I wasn't planning on it, but I some things came up for this weekend, so I will not be able to do an AMA this weekend, tomorrow on Saturday, nor will I be able to do one on Sunday. So it looks like I won't be able to do either of those. That's why I decided to do one today, because I know you guys do love the AMAs. So I wanted to add one if I could. I just thought it would be the right thing to do. So I'm very happy that I'm here today, and I appreciate that. But I did want to start on something. By the way, before I get there, something I want you to all to do, if you would. If you are watching this show, I would like you to do me a favor and head over to the Sharpe Way YouTube page. The Sharpe Way YouTube page. Subscribe if you haven't. Click all notifications, as I always tell you to. But not just that. There is a poll on the post tab. Go to post or community tab, either those two, post or community tab. There's a poll which is asking, do you want me, or do you think I should react to videos, suggestions from members? Some people brought it up to me, and I was like, I don't know if that's really my brand, if people want to watch that kind of thing. I'm happy to do it if you guys think it'll be entertaining or funny or interesting. And then you send me something, the members would, and then I'd pick one and then react to it live, hopefully without seeing much of it, if not any of it. So people do that. It's fun. If you want me to do that, please react to it either way. Happy to do that if you would do so. Now, I brought that up. But besides that, I wanted to bring up this idea of this signal gate, right? And for those who don't know what that is, basically there was a strike that was happening against, so I don't want to say it early in the stream so I get canceled. There was a strike against our enemies. I'm putting that in quotations. Some of you will be mad at that, but I am. And the discussion prior to it was on a Signal chat, right? And whoever put it together, supposedly Waltz, the director, he put it together. He supposedly added a journalist, and the journalist heard it and then talked about it. And now it's been leaked. We heard what happened. So this is now a horrible, terrible thing. Okay. Is it a problem? It is. That should not have happened. That's true. It shouldn't have happened. Is it the end of the world? For the wrong reasons, kind of yes, but not for the reasons you might think. So you might go, Larry, we got, it's the end of the world because we've, somehow, given out terrible intelligence and now we're all going to die. No, that's not the reason why it's the end of the world. It's the end of the world for a couple of reasons. And what I mean by end of the world, I mean, it's a big deal. It's a big deal for a couple of reasons. But again, not the ones you would think. Number one, why are they using Signal? That's the biggest reason. They're still using Signal. People are like, whatever. So I use Signal. Yeah, but what's special about Signal? For those of you who don't know, the messages disappear. Yeah. So the messages disappear. So what happens if I want to FOIA what happened? I can't. It's gone. Yeah. That's the bigger problem than whether they gave some information away. That's the bigger problem, right? That's the issue that people aren't getting. The messages go away. So the government can do whatever it wants, and we're unaccountable, and then that goes away. That's a bigger issue than whether Intel was put up. I don't want Intel even being put up, but that's piece number one, right? Number two, you're going to say, well, Larry, and Joel brings up already, it's war plans. Yes, that's why it was a bad thing, Joel. It was. But why am I saying it wasn't the end of the world for that reason? That's bad, but that stuff does happen here or there. But here's the second reason why it's the end of the world. Why did they try to cover it up and be stupid about it? You would think they would learn. The cover-up is always worse than the actual issue. The issue itself isn't that big of a deal. The fact using Signal is a problem, and the fact that you try to why are you covering up? Now, those of you might say, Larry, well, if it was you. All right. If any of you remember when I was running for governor, in both cases, my team had made errors. They put stuff up, made mistakes, did bad things, said stuff they shouldn't have done. Anyone remember what I did? I said, yes, mistake was made. It was one of my people. I didn't even say who it was. I took full responsibility and I said, I'm not firing them. I don't care what you think. I'm not firing because they're talented and they're loyal. They just made a mistake. I'm not firing them. And have a nice day. Stop yelling about it. It's a mistake. Get mad at me if you want. That's what Trump should have done. And he screwed up not doing that. He should have just said, he should just come out and said, yeah. They screwed up. But I mean, I'm assuming he likes this Waltz guy. I don't know if he's that good to be forward with you. I don't know that he's that good. Trump seems to think he is. So, okay. For the sake of argument, he's that good. I don't know if he is, but for the sake of argument, he is. So what does he do? He should have just said, yeah, our guys made a mistake. We shouldn't let that happen. That was messed up. But, he's talented. I'm not getting rid of him because he made a mistake. Even the best ball players in the planet drop the ball sometimes, right? Doesn't mean I fired them because they dropped the ball once. This guy made a mistake and you move on. That's it, right? And then it's over. But they didn't. And then the knucklehead Waltz starts attacking the journalist. What? Again, stupid. Just go ask her and walk away. The reaction is the problem. The issue itself is not the end of the world. How they handle it is insanely bad. Why does he in an attack just go, hey, look, I put the thing in and it screwed up. What are you going to do? It happens. I won't do it again. Sorry, my bad, whatever. Or have the president cover for you or have whoever. Have Hegseth cover for you, whatever. I don't care what you do. But don't act. Then he's insulting him. So what now does the guy do? Well, if you noticed, he didn't leak the whole thing initially. This guy, Goldberg, I think is his name. This guy, who's the Atlantic guy, he actually didn't want to leak the entire thing. But then they started attacking him to leak the whole goddamn thing. Ugh! Stop. Like, you should know better. A guy screwed up, put the wrong number in. We've all made mistakes like that. It doesn't mean he's bad at his job. Again, I don't know this guy at all, to be very full of you. I'm not very familiar with Waltz. He may be very talented. He may be a knucklehead. I actually don't know. The point is, if he's bad, great excuse to fire him, right? Because he sucks. Okay. If he doesn't suck, I wouldn't fire him because he made a mistake. Just come clean and move on. The cover-up is the worst. But here are two things that you guys might not have thought of. One of them, why would the Democrats be going so nuts on this? Why would they be bringing up, attacking Tulsi Gabbard on this? And why are they going so nuts on this? When it's not like that we know of so far, at least, no one who we didn't want to die died that we know of. I mean, assuming that's true. I'll cover that piece in a minute. But why would they be going so nuts on this? For what you were not thinking. Distraction. Yes, distraction. From what, Larry? The deep state? No, from Chuck Schumer. I warned you guys this week was his week. If they're still talking about Chuck Schumer, I said by today and by this weekend, if that's what happens about Chuck Schumer this weekend, Chuck Schumer's finished. I did tell you that. They talking about Chuck? No. Democrats were like, Chuck who? We don't know Chuck. I don't know who that guy is. You know who I do know? Waltz. And he's terrible. And so is Tulsi and all of them. They're all horrible. And they're, boo them. Forget about Chuck. And all of Chuck's buddies came out and went all in on attacking on the Signalgate thing, which, by the way, was brilliant. No one's getting fired from maybe Walt gets fired, who knows? But it's not gonna change the Trump foreign policy because of this. Trump isn't gonna fall and get impeached over this. None of that's happening over this. So why they're not, Tulsi Gabbard's not getting fired over this. So why would they be so harsh on these guys? As I said, distraction. That's the issue. And it worked masterfully yet again. They try to save Chuck Schumer because Chuck was starting to get a little bit nervous. He's like, I got to get this heat off me. And boom, perfect example. But now the other piece I want to bring up, which does bother me on a personal level. The part that is a problem is twofold. It is other people who were killed. What do I mean by that? According to the signal chats, they wanted to get this one guy and they collapsed the entire apartment building. Was it empty besides him? I don't know that. My assumption is no. All that collateral damage. All those people who were living their lives in their apartments, dead, gone. And what we hear all the time is we go out of our way to make sure that, nothing, that no other, civilians are hurt, whatever. No, that chat showed no, not at all. We just collapse buildings on people and whoever's in there, whatever. That piece was a problem. I don't like that at all. And not just that, they say there was a confirmation, which means there probably was a human intelligence asset there somewhere. And that guy right now is, or gals, and lots of people around him are fleeing for their lives, or already in trouble, or their families are fleeing for their lives, or they're already gone already. So yeah. And if loose ends have to be cut up, they're cut. So yes, it's bad, but for the wrong reasons. The reason that they're like, oh my God, it's like, security's been destroyed and no, that's not true. That is a nothing burger. It's the other things I mentioned that are the actual problems and the issues. Schumer got away with it, which I had a feeling he would. He's talented and he's powerful, and he sent his minions out to distract, and it worked perfectly, right? That's fine. And then, yeah. So let me grab a couple comments. I hope that was interesting for you. That was my inside scoop on that piece. Let me get down to the AMAs and take some questions and such. So that Liberty says, pretty cool that next week will be episode 600 of the Sharpe Way. Correct. Yes. And the way I'm going, if I keep going, I'll hit 700 this year. So yes, I will. If I keep going the way I'm going, I will break 750 this year. Here we go. Yes. So Dave says, yes, it is a problem. Larry, we serve the military. Yep. If we discussed attack plans on Signal or any of the social media outlet, we could be in serious trouble. I think Signal is authorized, though. The problem isn't whether we discussed it on Signal. I believe Signal is authorized. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure it is. The problem is if we leaked to the wrong person. Yes, we would. I was in Intel. I was in O2. You're right. It's a problem. We'd be in trouble. But depends on what the outcome would be. But we would be in trouble. And if the outcome is nobody is harmed, which I'm not sure that's true yet, Dave, that we know of now, that's true, is what I'll say. I don't know if that's true, but that's what we know of now. It might have been a scolding. It could have been maybe an Article 15, but it probably wouldn't have been a court-martial. My assumption, right? If it's my assumption, but I could be wrong. But you're right. Not sick. If someone knows, I'm pretty sure Signal's like used in the government a lot, and that's my problem. It shouldn't be. So yeah. So Peace is there. Says, hey there, Sharpe family. How are you, Peace? Good to see you. So let me keep going down here. Thank you. Ymir says, live for governor. Thank you. I do appreciate that. Yes. All righty. Mike Voss is in the house. He says, this is not a problem. Dems have nothing else, so they're milking this to get whatever they can. That's my point, Mike. You're correct. They went out of their way to, the public does care. Oh, no. The public does care. Even CNN did a whole poll on this. The public does care. Why? Because the Democrats went out of there to push it and act like basically Waltz just gave all the state secrets of the United States to the Chinese. Is basically what they're saying. You and I both know that's not true, but this is my point. They went out of their, that's my whole point, Mike. Why in the world would Democrats go this hard on this? I mean, they were grilling Tulsi Gabbard, grilling people, going to the press, going nuts on this. Why? Protect Schumer. I'm telling you. Some of you think I'm nuts. I'm not. That's true. No one's about Schumer anymore. You go back a couple of days, 3-4 days, they were talking. Schumer's getting beat up by this, and the Dems are mad about Schumer. And his people went out and said, oh, we can't have that in the press. And I warned you, remember, the press is the arm, particularly CNN and MSNBC. They are the arm of the Democratic Party. They tell the Democrats, particularly the morning shows and Sunday shows in D.C., they tell the party apparatus what to think. And it's usually authorized, by the Democratic Party elites. Not always, but usually. Well, when bad stuff happens, the press wants to attack. If Schumer can handle it, which he did, it goes away. I told you guys last year with Biden. I said, if Biden can handle it, it was 2 weeks after the same thing. By the end of this next week, they're talking about it, he's done. And it was 2 weeks, and he was done. Schumer is 2 weeks, and it's over. Schumer survives. So the public does care, but they shouldn't. So both of those are true. You're saying public doesn't care and really shouldn't. Public does care because this is fabricated, and they really shouldn't. It's not the end of the world. Is it a problem? Yes. And again, if they had just said, we screwed up, Dave is right in that it's a problem. It is. Just say it. We screwed up. It's a mistake. Move on. They acted like it. They fell right in line. And I'm not sure. This is my conspiracy brain popping up, Mike. You may think I'm nuts on this one. This is my conspiracy brain popping up. My conspiracy brain says the Republican establishment actually wants to keep Schumer because he is that bad. I mean, we see it. He is that bad. He's terrible. That's why Democrats are fighting against him. And the Republican establishment is like, could we get a better, if you're a Republican establishment, can you get a better Democratic leader than Schumer? You probably can't. I mean, maybe, but you're struggling, right? So you got a really bad one. Or if you're a Republican, a very good one for you. You don't want him going away. If you see what I see, you go, oh, yeah. Let's save old Chucky. He voted for us last time. Let's save him. He's terrible. Let's save him. So, look, that's no conspiracy. I have no evidence to that. That's just my conspiracy mind going, maybe I'm wrong. But, yes, I'm just saying that. Yeah. Larry, there was a special military operation against an indigenous group in and around the Red Sea. Oh, you are good at this, Dave. That's right. There was a special military operation against an indigenous group in and around the Red Sea. Accurate. Yes. Well, there's the other reason why it's a problem, but not because of that. It's a problem because why are we bombing them again? It's a colossal waste of time. That's all it is. It's killing people for nothing. We're just making more Houthis. That's all we're doing. It doesn't work at all. There are only two options. Leave them alone and somehow negotiate or abandon them, or to invade. That's it. Those are the two options. We know this. Biden said it and J.D. Vance said it. They both said it. It doesn't work. Bombing them doesn't work. Either leave them alone, negotiate somehow, or invade. Those are your two choices. That's all that works. But it's good to just have enemies. Just keep bombing for nothing, which never has. How long have we been bombing Houthis for? 15 years, 20 years? How long? I don't know how long. I mean, at least 10. I don't remember how long, but at least 10 years. I think like 15, 20. We've been bombing them forever. And what's the difference? Nothing. It's utterly useless. So that's the reason why it's a problem. So yes. All righty. I'm looking over at Rumble. Joel says, I think you are right about disappearing messages on Signal. It is an option. Yes, and they're doing that. That's the point. Yes. Straight End says the Dems are going nuts because Trump is busy playing what's up his sleeve while the press is busy with the leak. Trump is allowing it. I do think that Trump is like, I don't care. Go ahead. Like, do that. Whatever. Trump's trying to do other stuff. I don't think he's mad at this. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but from what I see, he's like, go ahead. Yeah. Yell at Waltz. It's fine. Yeah, he's a bad guy. Whatever. Yeah. Yell at him. Oh, yeah. Do that. I feel like Trump he's outsourced a lot of the bad guys, right? So when you bring the unity ticket on, you bring on a unity ticket full of bad guys in the press and the Democrats world. So now you get to yell at Elon, who's now leaving in May, right? And now you can yell at Tulsi because of this thing. You yell at JD Vance, and Trump's like, "Oh, good, they're yelling at them. All right, I'm gonna go over here." So I don't think he's mad. I think you have a valid point, right? I think he's like, "Yeah, okay. What are you gonna do? Stuff happens." So, all right. SLG Triathlons over on Instagram says, do you believe Trump that he is trying to acquire Greenland to protect them from China and Russia? That is kind of true. I don't think Trump cares about the Greenlanders. He's not like trying to protect them. I think he wants to get that because it helps us. Now, if it happens to also help Greenlanders, awesome. I don't think he has anything against them. So if he can protect them too, good. But I don't think he cares about them at all. My gut would say he wants Greenland for us. If it happens to protect Greenlanders, good. But I don't think he cares about them at all. That's just my assumption. I think Trump actually is in his head, and in reality, he is a America First type guy. I think that's real. I don't think that's fake. I think he makes that up. I think in his head, he believes that completely. Now, you may disagree with some of his policies. I get that. But I think in his head, this is all America First. That's what I think he believes. And I think he's doing it because he thinks it's going to help Americans. Again, I don't think has anything against Greenlanders. And if he helps them, okay. If he doesn't, okay. Yes. Trade says, I totally agree with your show on Greenland. Oh, thank you, Trade. I appreciate that. All right, let me keep going down if I could. I'm back over on YouTube. Peter says, question, what other authorized forms of communication are they using? Tip of the iceberg. You know what? I don't know if that was for me or for somebody else, but yeah, I don't know. This is why it's a problem, right? Not because of the world ended because he leaked this thing, or the world ended because the journalist was on it. Not because of that. Because wait a minute. Wait, are they using like Facebook Messenger or something? I mean, I'm sure they're not. I'm joking when I say that, right? But I mean, are they? And then Snapchatting so they can get rid of the messages when they, hey, JD, you up? And then when that goes away, right? Are they doing that? Yeah, that's my thing. Yes. Joel says, New York Attorney General James subpoenaed all Signal chats in her attack on New York citizens. Audit. Nothing disappears. Oh, they must not have that. Oh, okay. Here we go. They must have that. That must be it. Thank you. Yes. User user has been banned. Says Signal was used under the Biden administration. Yeah, I thought it was. I was pretty sure that it was. I'm pretty sure that it was like okayed or authorized in the government in general. I thought it was. I didn't think Trump was the first person to use it. So my question though does stand that Peter brought up. What are they using, and what's unauthorized, and what's authorized? Yeah, I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure that Signal is authorized. 99% sure. Mike says it wasn't Mike Waltz, it was his staffer. Got it. The Atlantic editor released full documents only after it was confirmed as non-classified to avoid being arrested, which is not a bad thing. I'm not mad at the guy for that, right? The editor for that part. I think that was the right thing to do, right? If you're going to let it out like that, that wasn't a bad way of doing it, right? So yeah, I get that completely. 100%. Yes. Dave goes on and says to Peter, true. And if previous administrations were doing the same thing, then it's worse than we thought. And that's my worry, Dave. I'm with you. That's my worry. Is this a thing that we've all been using? Has it happened more than once? I don't know. Mike Voss says Signal was approved for government high-level use by the Biden. Oh, so Biden was the first. Oh, yeah, Signal's not that old. Yeah, okay. So the Biden administration was the first to approve it. Okay, there we go. It is considered secure. Yeah, okay. Well, unless you put the wrong guy on it, Mike, but yes, that's the only issue. So yeah. User says the government should really have its own comm system. Same goes for power companies. They should have a separate internet. Oh, separate internet. Okay. Separate internet. I like that. There we go. All righty. Kim says, been here on time today. A little confused. What's going on? Been here on time. Confused. It's an AMA, Kim. You can ask whatever you like. That's what it is. Yes. Rick says, since AMA, any advice on slightly icky gut feeling on keto? What I'm thinking is happening. Are you taking any MCT oil or any of those things? There is a thing called keto flu, which I think I've mentioned to you and others in the past. And basically, it's the equivalent of withdrawal symptoms from carbs, particularly if you used to have a lot of sugary or complex carbs, not a simple carbs. Like just hold on, which one? Processed. Thank you, processed carbs. That's what I meant. That's what I was thinking about. Processed carbs. If it's that, because that could be very addicting to your body, and so you're changing over. So some people get very sick. Some people get very sleepy, have no energy, and back and forth. But also sometimes people have MCT oil. And if you've used MCT oil, it's very common that you need to be very light on MCT oil, because what will happen is that will mess with your guts. That'll mess with your gut. You'll get a lot of bubbly stuff in your guts. Yeah. So, but generally speaking, no matter what you decide to do, just go about 3 or 4 days, give or take. You'll be fine. Generally speaking, it's 3 to 4 days. Push through 3 to 4 days. When you do it often, like when I've been doing on it now, coming on 15 years. This summer will be 15 years. So when I come off, and I do sometimes, like I'll, decide, hey, I'm going to hang out with my kids on their birthday and have chocolate cake and eat a bunch of, sugary stuff for a day or two. I'll do that sometimes. And then I'll come off, and then I'll go back on, and it's half a day and I'm good. Not even. I pop right back on and off now. So it just takes more time for your body to get used to it. So I hope that was helpful. So Lunatic, how are you? Thank you for the $5. Appreciate that. In the house, Morse code or shortwave is less hackable. Tech women of the evening, come step to the rope and pull people, or pigeon messages. Larry, good to go 29th. Oh, okay, perfect. Actually, it will be the 30th, not 29th, the 30th. Wrong date, 30th. Did I give you the wrong date? 30th, Sunday. I will not be able to do a show on Saturday tomorrow. That's why I'm doing an AMA tonight. So 30th. So yes. No, look, the reality of it is sometimes stuff gets hacked. I get it. It doesn't mean you fire the guy for making the mistake. If he's not a good player and whatever you need, it's a great excuse to fire the guy. But this idea of he made a mistake, someone's got to be fired, that is insanely stupid. And we do it all the time. It's like we're worried about punishing and not what works well. Imagine you've got the best quarterback in the NFL and he throws an interception. Do an interception. Get rid of him. That's insanely dumb, but we do it. Right? So one of the best baseball players. He strikes out. He struck out. Get rid of him. That's insanely stupid, but we do it all the time. I'll look from a business point of view. I remember a guy. I'm gonna make up I forgot it. This years ago. I'm gonna make up the numbers. A guy is telling me about a business owner talking about a guy's got to fire. I said, you got to fire him. He goes, yeah, I made a mistake. I said, made a mistake? A big mistake. I said, really? How much? He goes, I'm making this up. I forgot what it is. It's a $60,000 mistake. I said, $60,000? He's like, yeah, that's a big mistake. Yeah, he goes, so I got to fire him. I said, is he a good worker? Yeah, he's a great worker. I feel bad. I got to fire him. I said, so let me be clear. You have to fire him because he made a mistake. Well, yeah, what I'm going to do, what you telling everybody? I said, okay, so he's going to go find another job someplace else in the company, right? Yeah. So you just paid $60,000 to train him to be a better employee for somebody else. He meant what? So yeah. So you paid in that mistake $60,000. $60,000 you paid because it's a mistake you made to make him a better employee. Because he's not going to do it again because he's learned his lesson because he's getting fired for it. So he's not going to learn his lesson for somebody else. And you made an environment for everyone else in your company to know, don't make a mistake or you're fired. And you're going to expect them to be creative? And he's like, take chances. You expect that? You fired the guy who made a mistake? He was like, so you don't have to fire him. Why are you firing him? I said, if you don't fire him, he'll be more loyal to you than ever. Now, the question, is he a good worker? If he's a bad worker, a good excuse, get rid of him. If you don't trust him, good excuse, get rid of him. But if you trust him, he's a good worker, why would you get rid of him? Made a mistake. It's insanely stupid. It's not good business. It's not good for friends. It's not good for government. If you punish somebody permanently every time they make a mistake, what do you expect to have in your world? What do you expect to have in your government? What do you expect to have in your business? It's insanely dumb. So yes, it happens all the time. Anyway, you don't have to fire people because they make a mistake. And in my campaign, it happened, and I openly tell people. And if you remember, I would actually say, well, and I would get the text because someone made a mistake. Someone's got to be fired. And I would say, no one has to be fired. No one's getting fired. Shut up. Stop. And I'm just, stop. I'm not firing them. You mad? Yell at me. You yell at me all day. I'm the candidate. Yell at me all day. I'm not firing anybody. Have a nice day. And what happened? My people were loyal because they knew I wouldn't fire them. And they were as good as they could possibly. And my 2018 campaign was amazing because the people were like, my boss has got my back and I can gamble and try to make something happen. Yeah. Anyway, I went long on that, but the point is this idea of firing people because they made a mistake is insanely stupid, backward. We should not do it. Fire them because you don't trust them or because they're bad workers or whatever. That's a good reason to fire it. Make a mistake? So you're so perfect. You're so perfect. No one makes mistakes. Stop. Anyway, peace. Thank you for $10. You have to already have the contact. You have to already have the contact stored on your phone before it can be added to Signal. So why did Waltz have a known enemy journalist on his phone? Great question, because he's not an enemy journalist. That's the point. Goldberg is part of the Atlantic. They love bombing. They're all about bombing. All about it. So he has this guy because he thought, I'll bomb the joint. Then when I'm done bombing it, I'll leak it to this guy and he'll post how awesome the bombing went. I'm not joking. Goldberg's loving. He's like, bomb all the Muslims. Goldberg wants to bomb all the Muslims just because they're Muslim. He don't care. Bomb them all. He's happy to do it. So that's how he thinks. So that journalist, he's not an enemy. That's why he didn't put the whole thing out. He's not the enemy. He's like, no. We're bombing people. We're good. Now, other things he's an enemy. On other things he is, right? Because he's more left-leaning on other things. But when it comes to bombing, one thing the establishment loves, bombing people. They love that. That is the best thing. They're all simpatico on that one. So he was bombing people. This guy would have been totally fine. Hey, look, we bombed some people, whole bunch of them. Put an Atlantic on how awesome it is. He'd been like, great, yeah, bomb more people. That's why. So this is when it comes to bombing people, most of the establishment, they're single issue coalitions when it comes to that. That's why. So I know it sounds odd, but that's the reason why. So yeah, hope that made sense at least. By the way, you saw that piece was good enough to super chat. If you want to get yours right to the front, you can too. Super chat, excuse me, right to the front. I do try. You can either super chat me or rant me. I try to be more open during the AMAs. Try to be more open to taking more things when I can for the AMAs. But if you want to go right to the front, then super chat's the best way of doing it. You can super chat me on YouTube, or you can rant me on Rumble, either of those two. But either way, please click the button known as Lima India Kilo Echo. Please do that. It does matter. Every single time you click that button, Mr. Rhythm, Al Gore, loves that and then shares it all over the place. So please do that. And you can do something better then. You can share it instead of him. Cut and paste this, share this someplace else, share this out into X, share this into YouTube, share this into a Facebook group, share it out to the place so people see it. It does matter. If you can, please do so. Every little bit counts. If you want to become a member, that's fine. You can become a member on YouTube by clicking the join button. $4.99 is what it costs to become a member every month on YouTube. The same if you want to go on Rumble, but it is called subscribe. Do that during the live. By the way, everyone who's listening, please do this if you have not, regardless of what you want to do. Please do this part if you have not already. Head over to the Sharpe Way YouTube, that page, and subscribe. And then once you're done subscribing, then check out the community tab, the poll tab. Check that out. I'm sorry, the post tab and the community tab, and you will see there a poll. And I'm asking if you think I should be doing reaction videos from members asking me on any topic, even off topic, doesn't matter. They see something interesting, I should comment on it and do a reaction to it. If you think the answer is yes or no or whatever, please answer that poll. I'm going to try to follow that poll to the best of my ability. So I've asked a lot of you today, but no matter what, please always click the button known as like. All right, let me keep going if I can. All right, Vivek says, the signal thing is bad, but no one takes classified info and national security seriously. Otherwise, why forever wars and expanding of NATO? Oh, no. There's two parts to that. Do they take it seriously? Yes, they do. But remember, the first goal is empire, which NATO is an arm of our empire. So the first goal is empire. They take that very seriously. Haven't you seen Vivek? They take that very, very seriously. So they do take that seriously. And also the individual stuff that goes back and forth, of course they do, because if it leaks, they get in trouble. And they actually could, without question, they could absolutely get into trouble because people could die. I don't think that's happened yet. There's no evidence of that happening for this one. Maybe we'll find out later, but at the moment, it looks like no one is going to die from this. But that could happen, right? If you leak information, it is possible that you lose lives. So I think they do take it seriously. I do think they do. So yes. Lunar Eclipse says, yes, Larry. Yes, it should be not taken lightly, as it was an abysmal mistake by Mike Waltz. Correct. You're correct on that. I agree. It should not be taken lightly, but it's not the end of the world. But yes, you should say, look, this is a mistake. We got to make sure we don't do it again. I agree with that. And Mike should, or whomever, Mike Voss was his staffer, whomever, you should take it seriously and be like, hey, this is how we do this. Here's the new protocols. And just say, hey, and Trump should have backed him up. He did, but not the right way. And then Hegseth is not used to this. Hegseth dropped the ball on this too. It grossly simple. What I said, what happens to me, yes, he made a mistake. I'm not firing him. Stop. That's what Tulsi just said too. They all did. The problem is they give these senators far too much respect. And most of these senators are knucklehead morons who don't know what they're talking about anyway. So why give them respect? So if I'm there and I'm the whatever intelligence guy and they go, Mr. Sharpe, aren't you embarrassed on so-and-so? Aren't you embarrassed by your haircut? No, I'm not. Guy made a mistake. We make mistakes. You're perfect. You're not perfect either. I saw the votes you made. You ain't perfect. So stop. Not firing him. The world didn't end. We'll get better from this. Can we have the next question, please? Get a better tie. That's what I would say. And then we'd be done. So yes. Mike says, I would love Duckworth or Warren to replace Schumer. Not Warren. Duckworth, yes. Warren, no, Warren's got more charisma. She can be charismatic. You don't like Warren, but the thing is, Warren motivates Democrats. See, you're looking at it from someone who you think is good or bad. Democrats like Warren. She motivates them. She's got Democratic charisma. You don't want her, Mike. That's a mistake. You do not want her. She will motivate Democrats. Democrats like Warren. They don't like Duckworth. They don't like Schumer. So those two, yes. Warren, no. But here's the worst part. You can't decide that, right? The Democrats will. He goes, it would be Christmas every day if Bernie got to. You are high. Bernie's out right now getting 20,000 people at an event. You want that? Schumer couldn't get 10. You are utterly wrong. You think the further left, that's your problem, Mike. You got too much Republican brain. You think further left is bad. Further left isn't bad. They hate Schumer because he's too establishment. Going further left is good for them and motivates them. What you don't want if you're a Republican is you don't want motivated Democrats, right? Because then they go out and vote and then they beat you, like in Lancaster County in Pennsylvania. Mike, just happened. That was unmotivated Republicans and motivated Democrats. That's what that was. And that's why you got beat there. And you're sitting there going, make it more, motivate more of them. Exactly the opposite. Opposite completely. You want some boring Chuck Schumer guy who literally can't motivate anybody to do anything and keeps Democrats at home watching TV or watching CNN or on Netflix or whatever and not voting. You just saw that happen in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. You motivate. Half of these battles are motivating your base to come out. You want to get Warren out there or Bernie Sanders? Again, have you seen Bernie? He's getting 20,000 people to show up, not in his state. And now we got AOC in tow. I told you guys AOC was the answer. She should be doing this. She got smart. Now she got AOC in tow. Now, have you heard any of that this week? Well, maybe Monday you did. Now, a couple of days, you haven't heard that anymore. All of a sudden, no one cares about Bernie and AOC. Why? Because we got to yell about Signal. Because Bernie and AOC makes Schumer look bad. Can't hear about that anymore. All of a sudden, I guess there's no more people meeting them anymore. Oh, there still are. Not impressed, though. Because you got to worry about this. Shut that right down. So, no. If Bernie actually replaced Schumer, it's not Christmas every day. Oh, no. Bernie replaces Schumer, Republicans probably lose 2026. You think I'm joking? I'm not. That would, if Democrats in this country actually saw change, like actually saw Democrats actually respond to them, they never do. Actually would have changed something, they never do. If Democrats actually responded and changed and responded to their base, if they actually did that, you would watch Democrats rush as fast as they possibly could back to the Democratic Party. That's what you'd see. And if Trump keeps doing his stuff, you're going to find Republicans go, we don't have to worry about it. We won. I was talking about this on that other show. I was talking about this on the Quite Frankly show. He was saying the same thing. He was saying, no, Republicans think it's over. It's not over. You put Bernie there, you lose 2026. You lose the House. Guaranteed. So absolutely the opposite of what you just said. Absolutely the opposite. You do not want motivated Democrats. If you're a Republican, that is. If you're a Democrat, yes, you'd love to have Warren if you're a Democrat. Love to have her. She'll start yelling Medicare for all, whatever, all that stuff. And she yells at Trump. They love when you yell at Trump. My God, Democrats love that. When Biden was yelling at Trump in 2020, oh, they ate that up. Democrats were coming out in droves for that. They thought Biden was the greatest guy in the world. Going to take Trump out back. Remember that garbage? Take him out back and teach him a lesson behind the barn or whatever thing he said. I'm sorry, I'm just saying. You do not want Warren or Bernie. Duckworth, yeah. Schumer, yeah. Yeah. Those two got lefty credit. You don't want that. So, all right. Anyway, let me head over to Rumble for a second. Just because, oh, yes, says Sunday works. Yes, I will get you over there, 100%. And it will be Rumble. I will be doing a Rumble only show on Sunday. I think around 6 or 7 p.m. Not sure which one. And the one and only Lunatic Libertarian will be on with me. That's why it's Rumble only, because you can't control this man. So he will say what he wants. Rumble only. I will let you know where I'll post it on YouTube, but I'll post it on Rumble too, so you guys come over and see it. It'll be Rumble only on Sunday, 6 or 7 p.m. Eastern. I'm not sure which one. And then we'll just hoop and holler at that point. So yeah, there we go. All righty. Let me keep running down here. And he goes on for $1 over in Rumble and says, Bernie gets destroyed by any capitalist based on his own record of exploiting a system he hates. Yes, but see, this is where you and Mike often overlap on this one. You guys talk about things like things that are logical and make sense. See, that's your problem. Politics doesn't do that. You guys like, but wait a minute, this makes logical sense. Correct. And has no value in politics. Both things are true. People don't care about that stuff, man. They don't. They're like, Bernie says stuff that I like. It makes me feel like we can win. So, but wait a minute. He's literally sold you out like the last 6 times in a row for his 3rd or 4th house and just keeps selling you out. Yes, but he makes me feel good today. So I guess I'll show up and vote. That's how it actually works. I wish it didn't, but it does. How do I know that? I live in New York State. Democrats have been promising me utopia for what, 30 years now? How long? 40? I don't know how long. They've been promising me utopia for a long time. And it keeps getting worse. And Republicans lie to me and tell me they're going to win every year. And they're not. And things just keep getting worse. I have lie upon lie, and New Yorkers keep voting. So, yes. There we go. There we go. Lunatic says, I will be there. Lunatic Libertarian. Yes, I know you will, brother. I know you will. I will get you the info. So we'll be Sunday, guys. You can go watch, and you can yell at him, or he'll yell at you, or both, whichever makes sense. All right, so let me keep going down if I could. All righty. Andrew says, question 1. What are your thoughts about Mike Lee's and Tuberville's proposal to abolish TSA? Amazingly good. The TSA is a colossal waste of time, money, and energy. Now, there are some very highly trained people in TSA, and that's a good thing because there are people highly trained. Government trained them. Good. Put them into private security. Let the actual security companies decide what makes the most sense to keep people happy. Because right now, the customer is the government, not us. But if we have private security, then the customer will be us. And that's what matters. The TSA has solved exactly 0 crimes, 0. And we are actually less safe with the TSA. What? Yes, less safe. What I mean by that, the TSA has stopped no crimes ever. And they fail, I think, either almost every or every of their tests. So they don't do it anyway. And on top of that, they have actually created more felonies against us than they've stopped. So we are actually harmed more by the TSA than they help us. It should go away tomorrow. Now, doesn't mean we shouldn't have security, but let the individual either airlines and or airports deal with their own security as they see fit. I'm not joking. But Larry, did there be bombs? Stop. First off, this idea. Let me ask anyone here a question. A serious question. If some guy, you're on an airplane, some guy gets up and goes, I got a knife or whatever. I'm taking the plane. What's going to happen to that guy? I can tell you. He will be beaten to death. That's what I'm telling you. He's not taking over the plane. That's not going to happen. Everyone still remembers 9/11. That's not going to happen. It's a fantasy we've made up. It's not going to happen. I got a box cutter. No, what you have is dead is what you have because you're going to be physically. You might cut one person, possible, but otherwise you're going to be beaten to death. That's how that works. You will be physically beaten to death on that plane that date. It's not going to happen. It's a fantasy. This idea that we need all this is stupid. Number one, just, like metal detectors are fine. Taking off shoes and stuff, insanely stupid. These are just, again, dumb things that just, that we just made up. Stupid, make no sense. How do we know this? The rest of the world doesn't do this stuff. We do. It's dumb. So yes, good. Get rid of it. Do private security. Make us the customer. We'll be treated better. And now you do anything wrong, literally you're going to jail. I'm not joking. You do anything wrong, you're going to jail. Because they arrest you and ask questions later. That's how it actually works. So terrible. Yes. Mike says, I disagree. Destroying intelligence and capability of Houthis does have an impact for Red Sea trade. Biden did not offensively attack Houthis that he gave humanitarian aid to. We've been bombing Houthis. Obama bombed Houthis. The Houthis are not going anywhere. They don't have massive intelligence capabilities in the first place. They're like on boats And most of our trade doesn't even go through that. That's like Chinese trade that we're like helping the Chinese out with that. We're bombing so that we can bomb and we can, I guess, I don't know. Are we keeping the Saudis happy or the Israelis happy? I don't know. Who are we keeping happy? We're bombing to keep somebody else happy. It's not helping us at all. It's irrelevant. We shouldn't be bombing them. What intel's capability? They know when a boat's coming by. The Red Sea is like 5 miles long. I'm making that up, but it's short. It's small. They probably look with a telescope and look and oh, there's a boat. Come on. That's intelligence. What are they? That's all they have is they're fighting in Yemen and then the Red Sea. Well, they're telling us what's happening in America. They don't have that capability, man. It's not a thing. That's stories that the Republicans tell you to make you think like they're doing something. More stories, more propaganda. That's not true. None of that's true. Yes. Ryan says Bernie is not a party joiner except for presidential races. Bernie absolutely is a sellout. There's no doubt. But the question is, how do people feel about him? Because politics is about feeling, right? That's the issue. Politics is about feelings. You know that, Rick. And Democrats still have a warm, fuzzy feeling about Bernie. And you think I'm wrong, I think 20,000 people at an event would prove that I'm right. I wish I could pull 20,000 people at an event. I'm jealous of that. The most I've ever pulled was like 400. And that's when I was running at my peak in 2018. That was like at my peak in 2018. I've never matched that again. Now, if I get 35 people like, yeah, killing it. I get 40 people, I'm king of the world. That's how it works now, me crossing the state. If I get 40 people, I'm king of the world. I usually get 5, 10. You see the pictures? He gets 20,000. So I'm saying 20,000. Yes. All right. Peter says Trump thinks he is president. Musk thinks he's chairman. That's cute. Lunar Eclipse says Larry, was an abysmal mistake by Mike Waltz. Of course, shouldn't be taken lightly. However, bottom line, did it cost any lives? And I'm not sure that at the moment I would say no. There's no evidence that it did, but I am worried that it might. And I told you the worry I have is that there was human intelligence on the ground. And because they, in their chats, they said they actually had a confirmation that the guy went into the building. That makes me think it could have been a person. It might not. It might have been drones. So we don't know if it was drone or someone far away with a scope. We don't know. So that is my worry, Lunar Eclipse. I do not have evidence of this. I am worried it might be that there's a chance that there may be somebody who's on our side there who is about to have a bunch of problems. So yes, and Nuna goes on to say American troops. It probably wouldn't be American troops, but it might be American intelligence assets. Possible. And again, don't know. Possible. Matt says, why do we care about the Red Sea? Let Europe worry about it. We're just trying to provoke Iran. Yes, that's my point with Mike. Who cares? Was it like 10% of what our trade goes there? Something like that. I forgot what it's a small amount, right? It's irrelevant. This is look, when it comes to bombing people, Democrats, Republicans will always have some propaganda to convince you. They have to convince you to bomb people because we don't want to bomb people. So they make up stuff to convince you to bomb. Oh, it's because Israel is our closest ally forever, and they're going to be with us, blah, 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 whatever, even though they literally sank one of our ships, USS Liberty. The Israelis literally sank our ship. I'm not making that up. You look up Israel, USS Liberty. You can Google it. They literally sank our ship, knowingly sank it, so that we can get involved in their wars. That's not a thing I made up. It's like the Tonkin Gulf of Tonkin lie, USS Maine lie. They always make up stories to get us into wars. That's what they always do. So yeah, there's literally no reason for us to be bombing them at all. It's either Republican or Democrat. I wish it was just Republican or Democrats. It's not. It's both. Because they all love bombing people because military industrial complex. So yes. Shelley says, I find Pocahontas as offensive as not recognizing Mexicans as Native Americans. Well, no, the right hates her, but the left doesn't. And that's my point. Is my goal to rally the right? Well, she can't anyway. Neither can Schumer. My goal, if I'm a Democrat, my goal is to rally my base. Schumer's clearly terrible at that. But Warren's not, and neither is Bernie. If I want to rally my base, get them back in action, get them moving, doing stuff, believing in us that we could do something, right? I want Bernie or Warren. That's who I want. Or AOC. They do a good job of it. I think that's the right answer for that, right? For them. So Dave says, it's the natural resources of Greenland that Trump and Musk want. Trump isn't altruistic. That, and there's a separate piece which I brought up in my video on Greenland. It's also strategic. It's a very close way to fire missiles into Russia, and another way to actually ensure that we have a higher chance of knowing when Russians, if they actually launch. Now, we already have a base there, excuse me, but we could have a broader base there and one even closer. So there is also a strategic issue there that would help to protect Americans also. Dave, you are correct. It's just a secondary piece. And it's a tertiary piece. If the resources that are in Greenland, yes, but also when it comes to the Arctic, right? With global warming, the Arctic is melting. So there's more access to the Arctic and the resources that may be under the Arctic. Well, I think it's 200 miles, if I'm mistaken. 200 miles off of the coast is considered your territory. So if we control Greenland, we control more of the Arctic. So we get more of it. So it's also that. You are correct, Dave, and the other issues. So that becomes non-international water. The problem that we have is because we hate nuclear power, because we're idiots and don't want nuclear power, we are not the best when it comes to icebreakers. The Russians actually have the best icebreakers in the world. They're all nuclear-powered icebreakers. We didn't want to do that because, I don't know, we didn't do that. But yeah, we should have. So yes. All righty. Let me keep going down here if I can. All right. Liberty Lady says, where can you get this type of interaction? Show support by sending a super chat. Oh, thank you for that. I appreciate that. Yes. Look, the reality is that's why I'm on this, right? So that people can just talk back and forth. We have a conversation back and forth. And you guys have a conversation between yourselves too, right? About things that I think matter, that I care about. I hope that it works. So yes. Matt says, how does the government not have their own app? It's a good question, right? It's a good question. I don't know, to be forward with you, but again, if you have that, then you can't make a mistake or whatever. Yeah. So yeah. In any case, Rick says the staffer has to go post haste. If the staffer's that incompetent, yeah, it's a staffer. You can fill a staffer probably in 5 minutes. I might agree with you on that one, Rick. I think I could. Depends on the person. Depends, right? But yeah. Andrea, thank you for being a member. She says, don't you think it's weird the same judge that ruled for the TRO with the TDA members is going to rule on the Signal case, judge shopping? I didn't even know it was true, to be forward with you, Andrea. I didn't know that was true. But yes, judge shopping is a real thing. I didn't know that to be true, so I can't really comment on that piece, but it does make sense. Because for those of you who don't know, prosecutors will very often, and so will defendants sometimes, try to find the right judge. So they find a reason to change jurisdictions or timing to ensure they get the right judge, because judges are on certain times or certain days or certain rotations and in certain areas. So they go, ooh, that judge will be fine. Oh, she's a good judge for us. And they try to find reasons to do that. That's a real thing. I didn't know that was the case here, Andrew. That's new information for me. Yes. All right. Let me see if I can go here. John says, Larry, I have a thought I'd like your opinion on or expand on. I was thinking the other day, health insurance should be ran through the local hospital instead of insurance company. You could do that. The issue you'd have to deal with here is, right, if the hospital is running insurance, the hospital has to be able to basically become a bank. Now, can that be done? Yes, it can be done. I talk about it for the universities. The problem is hospitals aren't universities in one very important way. The vast majority of universities have massive endowments, massive ones. So they're able to act as banks or insurance companies. Most hospitals don't. So that would mean you'd be encouraging hospitals to either somehow have their own type of third-party administrator, which they could create. They do it for their other issues. They could. Or buy up 3 or 4 hospitals to create enough cash to be able to do their own insurance. It could be done. It just isn't as easy. The other issue is then, is the hospital itself its own insurance company and then a monopoly? And what if you have insurance from someplace else? Can you still use that insurance? Would you have to use only that hospital's insurance? And then who pays into the insurance? Right? Do I still pay into is the hospital next to me, so I pay into that insurance plan? I'm not sure how you do that, right? Who pays into it and how? That's the only issue. Who pays into it and how? Does the local community pay into it? Do you make it to where it is almost like a gym membership? Everyone pays like a monthly membership and you're a member of the hospital. If you're a member of the hospital, you gain the insurance by default. Could work maybe. I mean, it would be similar to direct care. It could be done. It's just not as easy as one would think because the hospitals don't have massive funds. If that makes any sense. And then who's paying them off? Like, does that mean basically what happens is you go to the hospital and they charge you whatever, $1,000 and you don't pay it. You only pay $100. The insurance company pays. Well, then who pays in the insurance company? Or you're saying that they insure it, meaning that it's almost like a finance company in that, okay, $1,000, but I can pay $10 a month, for 100 months. Is that what we're talking about? I think it could work in theory, but it has to be fleshed out a whole lot more to how that works. So yes. Rick says, I used MCT, but that was 2 weeks ago. Been in ketosis over 2 weeks. How do you know you're in ketosis, by the way, Rick? Are you using the strips or blood testing? Which of those two? Generally speaking, keto food doesn't last more than 2 weeks. That's a good general, that's some exceptions, but generally speaking, it does not last more than 2 weeks. It might be something else. You might have an illness, or there's another thing is you might not have enough fat, believe it or not. That's one of the biggest problems of going into ketosis is you don't have enough fat. You need to be eating a lot of fat to be good on ketosis. A lot. Like a lot. Some people say 20%. So yes. Joel says, my friend called keto food the meat sweats. Yes, that's a thing sometimes too. Yes, absolutely. So, all right. So I'm going to grab some more of these if I can. Michael says, Larry, how do you feel about Nome going to El Salvador? Much bigger store than a single box. Yes, it is. And also, the best part about that is, Christy going to El Salvador is definitely a bigger story than the Signal flap. And I think that's why Trump is okay with it. He's like, good, talk about the Signal stuff. It's not a big deal. Like the Signal thing itself is not a big deal. Michael, you said it, right? Mike Voss said it. You said it. It's not a big problem. It isn't a big problem. It's a problem. I don't want to push it as not being a problem, right? Lunar Eclipse says it's real. It is real. It is a problem. I want to be clear. It's a problem, but it's not the massive problem that the press has made it. A mistake was made. They should admit the mistake was made. They should fix it and move on. The problem, as I said, is they acted like, oh, we got to cover it up, which I feel like that's got to be on purpose, Michael. I think it's got to be on purpose. Like you don't know that's going to be a problem. You don't know. You haven't watched since Watergate. They literally call it Signal Gate from Watergate, and the cover-up was the reason why it was so bad. I feel like they knew. Maybe I'm being conspiracy on this one. Maybe I'm wrong, right? Maybe I'm being too conspiracy, but I do feel like that. Andrew says, question 2, should the TSA disappear tomorrow and private contractors now take the role? How can we ensure accountability on private actors when they overstep and violate people's dignity? How do we deal with the TSA? We don't. They do it all the time. Literally, South Park literally did an episode on this, on how bad the TSA is. They do it all the time. As you hear me say often, Andrew, you hear me say often, this dystopian future you see is today. There's not dystopian future. It's today. So I'd ask you, how do we make sure that private security now is accountable? There's private security all over the place. Where are all the lawsuits? Somehow we keep them now, don't we? Somehow we do. There's private security everywhere. If you go to a downtown building right now in New York City, you will find security everywhere. You'll find agents lurking around. I know because I notice them. A lot of people don't notice them, but I see them all the time. The vast majority of them are former cops. Why? Because in New York City, you can only get a license if you're former law enforcement to have a firearm. So almost all of them are former cops who now work security. It's all over the place, constantly. Where's all the problems? There aren't any. When's the last you remember this happening? A lawsuit or whatever? When's the last time? There's private security everywhere. Yet we're literally arresting TSA agents for felons. Already happening. I get what you're saying. It's already happening. Peace, thank you for the $20. To inspire those thinking about it, I quit smoking. Nicely done, Peace. No alcohol. Wow. No sugary drinks. You are not playing games. Doing keto. I feel great. My man. Peace, my man. Thank you. I love that. My depression is 80% gone. Let's all as a group make the healthy changes and live a better life. Maha. Yes. Make America healthy again. And I would say, and I'm blatantly biased, and I don't care. I am blatantly biased. Everyone should go on keto. Keto's magic. There we go. I said it. I had to. Peace. Thank you for that, my friend. I do appreciate that. Absolutely. Yes. All right. Andrew says electrolytes are what plants crave. True. You saw the movie. So did I. We all saw that movie. Yes. We all saw that movie. I agree. 100%. So yes. Let me see if I can grab here. Kim says, when I eat no carbs for several weeks, I find I need to add some to my diet to give me a boost of energy, and my gut feels better too. There's this, you remember, right? Sometimes you can find out that you don't have to go full carnivore. Some people, to Kim's point, actually can do pretty well on a carnivore diet. I'm not carnivore. I'm keto. And keto just means I put my body into ketosis. But I do eat some carbs, right? Almost every day I will have, in the morning, I eat sauerkraut to keep my gut health well, which has carbs in it, but it's not crazy. It's very light. And I have a salad almost every night, which has some carbs in the salad because I have peppers in it, which has some carbs. Tomatoes has some carbs. Onions has some carbs. I hope I'm making you all hungry. So I do eat some carbs. I just make sure my carbs are under 20 grams every day. It's very rare I have over 20 grams. Sometimes if I'll push like 30 or 40 here or there, particularly if I do like fried chicken. So if I had some fried chicken the other night. So if I have some of that, the breading on the chicken will have carbs in it. So if I have it that day, that will sometimes push my carbs up. I go to a diner. I love to go to a good diner and then try to get like either two things I like. I have to get the local fried chicken. I do like that. Or also they happen to have like either a meatloaf or if they happen to have a chopped steak with a gravy and mushrooms. I do like gravy and mushrooms, which also has some carbs in it. But so I will eat some carbs. To your point, Kim, I'm not carb free. I just eat very few of them. And so I do have and I also will put half and half in my coffee. If I have coffee, I have half and half in it. So that has some carbs in it. So I do have some carbs. Some people can do very well on carnivore. Most people do like some carbs in their diet. It makes them feel better. So Rick, it's possible you either maybe you have no carbs, which could be one thing as Kim's saying, or it could also be you don't have enough fat. So you need to balance yourself. So you have enough fat and enough carbs, and your body's different than mine and Kim's. And again, I know people who've been on carnivore and they have virtually no carbs and they're good. That's not me. I do have some. So I hope that was helpful. Except when I first went on keto, I was a fanatic. I was like, no carbs. So yeah, that was it. When I first went on. After that, I've now shifted obviously since then. So yes. Andrea says, Rick, make sure you're getting enough electrolytes. Yes. Thank you for that, Andrea. There are two things you have to worry about when it comes to electrolytes, specifically salt and magnesium. There's others, obviously, those are two big ones. I put a lot of salt on my food, like a lot of salt. And if I snack, if I do snack, and I do snack sometimes, I will snack on salty pork rinds, which have no carbs and heavy salt. So that's how I get my electrolytes. I have a lot of salt. Like a lot. I know that they tell you salt's bad for you. No, it's not. That's the thing they tell you. That's not true. Salt's not bad for you. I have a lot of salt, like a lot of salt. So I think I agree with you, Andrea. Usually there's others, obviously, but two big ones you got to worry about is salt, magnesium. The other electrolytes, it's easier to get. Those two are harder to get, and they're very important. So yeah, I hope that was helpful. So, alrighty. All right. Dave says a kicker missed a field goal during the Super Bowl. The team lost. Kicker was fired. Yeah, did the team lose? That's catastrophic. It was Super Bowl and team lost. Catastrophic. This is not catastrophic, right? It's not catastrophic. This is just more bombing, right? And again, that we know of, Dave, so far that we know of, nobody who wasn't supposed to be killed was killed. So that we know of, there's no mistake. So it's not the Super Bowl and the team didn't lose. So I get it, right? If he had made a mistake to where, all right, we dropped the bomb on a city we shouldn't drop the bomb on, I'm with you, right? Because then that would have been a big deal. It would have been a big problem, right? If he had got, to your point, American soldiers killed or something, I'm with you if that's it. But from what we know of now, none of that happened. So yeah, if a kicker misses a field goal during the season, do you fire him because he missed a field goal during the season? I would hope not. Right? So yeah, I get where you're going. I don't think that's where we are in this one. I don't see it. So yeah. Peter says, Larry, bravo. Oh, I did good. Okay. I'm not sure what I did good on, but thank you. I did good on. See, I did good. Peter isn't always happy with me. So I'm glad he's happy with me now. Yay. I love that. That's good. All right. Let's see here. Mike says, this was asked several times. Do I repost? All administrations have contact lists of editors and major reporters from mainstream media. Is that correct? I have them. Like in my phone, literally, it's my daughter, by the way. In my phone, I literally have the number of many. I mean, a dozen more, 2 dozen. I don't know how many I have. Reporters. Yeah, of course. I'm a candidate. I literally go on TV as a surrogate for other candidates. Of course I want to talk to them. I want to leak the story myself. Of course I do. So Mike, you're 100% correct. It is normal for that. And yeah, that 100%. Yes. All righty. Dave goes on to say, Larry, they just need to put in tougher standards in the future. Agreed. Yes. And again, a problem, correct, not the end of the world, right? That's all I'm saying. If it is the end of the world, it's for the other things I said, like they're collapsing buildings on people and we don't know who else is in the building. I want you to think about that for a second. For those of you who are all about bombing, I know some of you out there like, well, we got to bomb them because they're bad or whatever. I get it. But I want you to think about something. You're going to put whatever, was it a cruise missile or whatever it was? I don't know what ordnance they used, but whatever ordnance they used, it flattened an apartment building. Let's say there's only 6 apartments in it. Maybe there's 10. Argument 6. Only 2 were filled with innocent people who had nothing to do with this. They're dead. They're dead. So you're a neighbor, you're a family member, you're somebody, whatever the case may be, and you get word, oh, Aunt so-and-so and her kid, they died. What happened? Americans bombed the building. They went to get, bad guy so-and-so, and they killed him. Americans killed my family? Yeah. I think I'm joining the Houthis now. You just made more Houthis. Just made more Houthis. It's how it works. For those of you who want to see, I did this is way back in 2017, 2016. I did a presentation at Columbia. I talked about the failed war on terror and the failed war on drugs. And everything I said 8 years ago, still true. Still true today. Hold on so I can find it real fast. Still true to this day. Has not changed at all. The war on drugs does not work, has never worked, will never work. The war on terror has not worked, will not work, will never work. And I've been saying it for years. Let's see if I can find it. And it's another example of just making more people. And 8 years ago. It was 8 years ago. Yes. So, all right. Yeah. If you have a moment, it is literally, it's literally called The Failed War on Drugs. Now, I will share it real fast just so you see it. If I can. For those of you who care. I mean, it isn't that long. It's only about, it's less than half an hour. And it's both of them, by the way. It is the war on drugs and the war on terror. See if I can grab them both real fast. And that's what it looks like. Let me get Dave's off here. And there it is. Hi, everybody. And so if you want to, it's right there, The Failed War on Drugs. You can see it across top. On terror, Larry Sharpe at Columbia University. This is back from, I think it's 2017, I think. So if you want to see that, please feel free. I explain why it will never work, has never worked, has no chance of ever working. That's all. So, all right, let me keep going if I can. Andrea says, I wouldn't be mad if Mike Waltz is fired. I wouldn't either. I'm just saying, I don't know if he's good at what he does. I don't know enough about the guy to be very forward, right? If he really is as good as Trump says he is, then it's probably keep him. But if he isn't, then who cares? Let him go, right? It just seems like another neocon who wants to bomb stuff, right? And he'll replace Waltz with the next neocon who bomb stuff. They're going to be bombing stuff. I wish they wouldn't. I wish they wouldn't be bombing stuff, but they're gonna. So yes. All right. Shelley says the New York State Police have secure lines, so I think the White House does too. They made stuff up for the guy to hear. Ooh, I like that. I do like that. That Liberty Lady has the poll. You have the poll in. Thank you. She's killing it as always. Yes, thank you so much, guys. Take that poll if you would. Yes. Joe says all polls are rigged. Yes, it is, but that's okay. Doesn't matter. Accurate, but still. I actually write polls. I know it's funny. You might say, Larry, you write polls? Yes. Most people don't know this. They think that polls are just like poll companies and like colleges do scientific stuff. No. Whoever buys the poll controls the poll. So if I buy the poll, I write it. I'm not even joking. Yes. So that's how it actually works. So yes, that's how it actually works. All righty. Let's keep going down here. Michael says Warren motivates which Democrats? You answer your own question. Massachusetts Democrat. Yes. You answered your own question, Michael. Yes, she does. If you're looking at someone who is sitting here as a Democrat, broken from last year, and one of them you can see all the time. One of them is, by the way, Crystal from Crystal and Sagar. She's one of them, Crystal Ball. She's obviously broken from last year. She's broken. She wants something to happen. If you watch the Breaking Points now, it's just insults and complaints about Trump. That's the show now. It's just complaining about Trump, right? That's the show now. So it's becoming unwatchable because it's just complaints about Trump all day because they're worried. If Warren actually took over, all you would hear is Crystal talk about, oh my God, and she's talking about taxing the rich, and she's talking about ending billionaires. That's all you would hear. That's all you would hear. So yes, she would absolutely do this. She would motivate them to get going. She absolutely would. So yes. Michael says Warren's not left. None of them are, but they talk it. Michael, I'm not saying you're wrong at all. Let me be clear. This goes back to what the other Mike was also saying. You guys are saying things that make logical sense. This is politics, man. It's voting. If politics made logical sense, I would be governor of New York. In case you didn't know, Michael, I'm not governor of New York. So I have felt it straight on. If politics makes sense, right now, Mike Voss would be in government now because he ran too. Yes, it doesn't. It's not a thing. But you're right. I'm just saying that's not how voting works. That's all I'm saying. So yeah. All righty. Let's see here. If I can keep going. Let's see here. Michelle, how are you, Michelle? What are your thoughts on AOC and Bernie? I think it's brilliant. Bernie has to find someone that he has to hand off the mantle to. AOC is young enough, has plenty of time to do that. She's still popular enough. Sadly for the Democrats, she has some of the best charisma out there. That doesn't really say much, but I'm just being very forward. Look, you have the team you have. The Democrats have the team they have. That's who they got. You can say they should, but this person sucks. Okay, that's who they got. AOC, relative to other Democrats, has got decent charisma. People seem to like her. Democrats seem to like her in general. She still can draw a crowd. People like to watch her on TV or whatever. She can get interviews. She can do TikToks that people watch. A lot of Democrats can't do any of that. She can. So if you're going to grab somebody, not a bad deal for Bernie. Bernie right now is way too late and has utterly sold out the party and his people. He sold them out. However, he is now at least active. He doesn't have actual plans to fix things, but at least he is talking about fighting, which the Democrats have just lost, right? They're doing nothing. He's doing something. And again, it's relative. You're saying to yourself, if you're left leaning, where are you going to go? You're looking for something. Jill Steins fell off the map. So she's not your person. Maybe you go to Kyle Kalinske and as he yells at people, maybe, I don't know. Young Turks is having problems, so you can't go there. But I mean, you can if you like that stuff, you can, but it's not easy for you. Where do you go? You got to find someplace. You're left leaning. You either got to go way left, right? Option number one is to go way left if you don't want to go to those two, or you see Bernie and AOC do stuff and you go, oh, maybe there's hope. Oh my God, maybe there's hope. Maybe I'll go show up. And Michelle, you might think, Larry, did I really? He had over 20,000 people at one event. So yes. See, the problem is if you're not left leaning yourself, it may be hard for you to feel that, if that makes any sense, right? Because you would look at them as, oh, they're crazy lefties. Who cares? Well, what if you lean left? You're looking for somebody to do something. The left's getting its butt kicked, in case you hadn't noticed, right? Since last year, it's getting its butt kicked. Well, I don't want to get my butt kicked. What am I going to do? I got to go find somebody. Got to go do something. What am I going to do? Well, AOC and Bernie doing stuff. Let's go watch them on YouTube. Let's go to their event when they come near me. Let's go do that. So I think it's a wonderful idea for Democrats. The problem is, how do you, at that point, move forward from it, right? Bernie's kind of done. The best Bernie could be, best case, is if the Democratic establishment actually falls. I don't see that happening. I mean, the best chance was last week, and that didn't happen. But if you're a Democrat watching now, or you lean left now, and you don't like Trump, and don't like Republicans, and you want to find an answer, your best hope is that somehow in the next year or two, the Democratic establishment falls and Bernie can be a kingmaker. That's kind of your best hope. And that's not a great hope. It's not great. Democrats are in trouble now, and they know it. And they know it, which is why they're acting like this signal thing is devastating, and it shows how evil and incompetent and bad everybody is, and the world's ending, because they got to hold on to something. So I think AOC and Bernie, if I was Democrat, and if I was advising Democrats, I'd be like, this is the thing, jump on this, get on this, every TV station, push this out, and get the other guys to jump on board. And then if there is a charismatic Democrat out there somewhere in, I don't know, hanging out someplace in Idaho, in Boise or something, or in Austin, Texas, if there is one out there who's got some charisma, then that one goes, wait a minute, they're doing it? I'm going to jump up. You might get some people on your team. Some people could say something, do something, move something forward. And I would be, as I told you, if I'm telling Democrats, go left economically. Economic left. Go back to the Medicare for all. Again, I hate it. I think it's a terrible idea, but I'm just telling you, if I'm a Democrat, I'm going back to Medicare for all. Because at least it's an answer. People pay attention to it. I would go there if I was them. That's just my view. If they're not asking me, but if they were asking me, I'd be like, go Medicare for all. Go full on socialist. Full on. At least you got an answer. Right now, you got nothing. And you can always, they lie anyway, so you just back off and lie about it, right? Go full on socialist. Do it. What the answer you got? I know some of you think that I'm crazy, but I'm just, again, this is my point to Michael, right? It doesn't have to make sense. It has to feel like you're doing something. Like it's going to work. It's got to feel good. So we're all going to be socialists. We're going to hold hands, Michelle, me and you, and we're all going to be socialists together. Done. Feels good. So anyway, I hope I answered your question at least. Joel, thank you for the $5 over on Rumble, says, every school budget, every school board blames unfunded mandates for the huge budget costs. Are these mandates from the Department of Ed? If it goes away, do the mandates go away? No, there's the bad part. The unfunded mandates all come from the state. Now, what you get from the federal government is funded mandates. Difference. The federal government says, if you do A, B, and C, we will pay you. That is a funded mandate. Now, you can say, I don't want it. You don't get the money, though. That's how the federal government works. So in theory, that would go away. But the reality of it is, it still may come from someplace else. So they say, you must have this score or this thing or do this thing or this DEI, whatever, and then we'll write you a check. That's a funded mandate. The state says, oh, you're going to do these things. We don't have no money. Guess you screwed. So the unfunded mandates come from the state. The funded mandates come from the federal government. Joel, I hope that answers your question, Joel. They both suck, but that's how it works. They are just different. They're just different. That's the issue. So, all right, so if I go down here. All right. Mike says the base would be livid with any of them and get motivated. I don't know. Oh, I don't. Maybe Dems are in a death spiral, and AOC as leadership is proof. Correct. That's my point. We're on the same page, there, Mike. Yeah, I'm not sure about that. You are finding a lot of Democrats just. I see it here in New York, man. Just like whatevs. A lot of them are there. Yeah. So Michelle says, "Okay, I'm old, so forgive me, but what is Rumble? Rumble is another. It is basically a competitor. I mean, it's nowhere near as big. But it's still. It's like I don't know. It's a much smaller competitor to YouTube. It's literally Rumble.com, but YouTube is basically a nanny state, which just basically means you say one thing bad, they shut you down, they shadow ban you, or they demonetize you. All those things. Rumble doesn't care. You can say whatever you want, do what you want. Rumble's like, it's fine, whatever. Say what you want. They don't care. Rumble doesn't shadow ban. That's why I'm doing. I'm probably going to start doing at least one Rumble show a month. I might do a couple others, because I can say whatever I want. You can say whatever I want. I don't got to do baby talk. YouTube, I have to do baby talk. There are a lot of people, creators now who are just leaving YouTube completely and just going to only Rumble because it's baby talk. You see how I have to talk here? I have to talk in code. Otherwise, I get hammered. So, yes. Anyway. All right. Let me see if I can go down here again. Shelley says, Bernie went from welfare to mansions, proving that government is the only way. It's only a get rich quick scheme. Nice. Absolutely. That is awesome. That is amazing. All righty. Dave says, San Francisco International Airport doesn't use TSA. Is that true? What do they use, Dave? Is it private security? I've never heard that before. That's new to me. That's amazing. That is amazing. There we go. I did not know that. Yes. All righty. All right. I'll grab a couple more of these if I can. Michael says, Green Party loyalists hate Bernie. Yes, because they know he's not really left. To your point, Michael, they know he's not really left. But the average Democrat thinks Bernie's left, right? The average Democrat does believe that. And they also think he's like their only hope. So, yeah. Yeah, that's it. So, Joel says, houses with anti-Trump signs have Ukraine flags flying. True. I've seen that more than once. Upstate New York is one of the oddest places to run because as you go through, when it becomes a town versus the more rural area. So you go by a rural area and there will literally be a barn, a huge barn painted Trump 2024, right? Be painted on the barn, but like hand painted, right? On a barn, huge, right? Bigger than a semi-truck, right? Then you'll go into a small town and it'll be like Biden, Harris, Slava Ukraine, right? Within 5 minutes. It's very funny how that is upstate. I'm sure it's in your other states too, right? I'm sure other states are the same thing. But I see that when I go upstate all the time. That's great. Yes. Jean says, my best friend told me that the only politician she trusts is Bernie. Yes, I'm telling you, he's still popular. He motivates the base. People still like him, even though he's sold out. And I would say it because that's all they got. That's all they got. Gene, they don't, I mean, who else? What are they getting? They're getting excited about Schumer. They're getting excited about Hakeem Jeffries. You can't get excited about these people. So they take Bernie. And look, at least Bernie can move a crowd. Right? Whatever you think of Bernie, the man can move a crowd. He could do that. And AOC's not bad either. She can move, again, relatively, she's got charisma compared to the rest of them. Schumer couldn't move a crowd if you gave him a damn truck. Couldn't do it. So, yes. IC says, I heard that a lot of people at the Bernie/AOC rally were actually bussed in, i.e. not organic. Well, first off, of course they're busting because people coming from other areas because they're happy. Being busted is a good thing. It's not a bad thing, right? The second thing is every time someone does well, the opposition goes, it's just bushing people in, paid actors. That's every time. So I don't, whenever I hear that, I never believe that because I always assume it is someone trying to crap on somebody. And I don't care whether it's Bernie or Trump or whatever. They said about Trump too. Remember that? Oh, Trump couldn't get people. Trump always gets people. But they were like, he couldn't get people. He had to bust people in. No, people from other areas wanted to see him. So they they hired buses to bring people in who wanted to see him. I think the same about Bernie OC. Yes, they bust them in, but people from other areas wanted to see them. Yes. So even if you bust people, they're not going to like, yay, because you bust me in. I mean, he gets standing O's. That's not because you bust somebody in, right? So yeah, I just think it's people who want to see him. Same thing with Trump. I said this when they were talking about it with Trump too. Last year when Trump I guess he couldn't fill something out or whatever it was. He like it was like a 40,000 person venue and he only got like 20 or something. Like, see that? They got to bust him in. I'm like, no, people still loved him. And they still love Bernie. That hasn't gone away. People still love him. So there are people who drive when I go up to the state, people sometimes drive an hour and a half to see me. So do I say, oh yeah, I paid people to come see? No, people just want to see him. That's all. So Roy says, it's been clear from the get-go, Trump was choosing fealty to him rather than merit. Now we see those in charge don't know law or what they're doing. I'm agreeing with you, and I want to say I'm going to give a little bit of explanation on this one because I've been through this, Roy. When you go through a loss and you fail in politics, that's when you see the people who are really your ride or dies and the people who really will stab you in the back. You see it. And boy, does it hurt when you think that you're friends or you help them out with cash because you put them on their payroll, all that stuff, and they stab you in the back. Boy, does that hurt. When you couldn't get stuff done on time and you have so much regret on what could have happened and they didn't do it for you or they turned on you and stuff. Oh, it hurts. Right? Oh, was it hurt? So I feel that too. And I'd rather have someone loyal to me than not loyal to me and not do what they're supposed to do or turn on me or stab me in the back, particularly when it could end my career or even harm people or end the party if I care about the party. I mean, I don't, but if I did care about Republicans, Democrats, destroy the party. So I get it. I'm not saying it's right. I'm saying it's human, and I'm agreeing with you. I think he was more of that now than he was the first time. He's very much about loyalty, and I get it. I do. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm also saying I understand. I've done some of that myself, and when I've seen people who are loyal to me, I tend to stick with them, even if they aren't great. If I have to work with them and make things better, I tend to. So I get it. Not saying you're wrong. Dave says, with regard to USS Liberty, that's what you get for spying on Israel. It was an Israeli message. Don't spy on Israel. Correct. Accurate statement. Yes. So yeah, 100%. All righty. Get down here again. User says, now look up AMDOCS scandal after 9/11. I don't know what that is. AMDOCS scandal. Well, I'll look it up then. There we go. Let me look it up. Ed says, DNC and RNC love money. Accurate. Accurate. Yes. And he says, and you get bombed, and you get bombed, and you get bombed. Yes. Absolutely. Yes. Laura says, I've totally been wondering about this. Thanks, Larry. There we go. Yes. Rick says, the long promised and long delayed global warming and global freezing. We're supposed to have an ice age or something too. So that we're supposed to have all the things. But we do know that the polar ice caps are melting. So there we go. Yes. Laura says, what happens if Greenland remains independent? And what would they benefit if they did become a U.S. state? I did a whole show on this. If you have a second, Laura, just go onto my page and put in Greenland, and you will see I did an entire show on it. Greenland is actually not independent. Greenland, to my knowledge, I think is the only country that's ever happened to. They actually left becoming a colony and went back to their colonizer voluntarily. That's true, which is why it's so weird. Greenland used to be a territory of Denmark. And then the Greenlanders said, we want to be independent and get away, Dad. And they became independent. And then they were like, this sucks. Dad, can we come back home? And Denmark said, fine. Now, here's the problem with that. Generally speaking, when you're a colony, you are owned by the country, right? The country owns you because you are a colony. Literally what colonies are, right? Owned by the country. When they came back not as a colony, but as an agreement. That's a nuance. What does that mean? Denmark can't sell Greenland to America. They can't because they don't own them. If this is before they had left, Denmark would have owned Greenland and could have sold Greenland to us if it wanted to, if it chose to, right? It could have done so. Now it can't because they're together because of an agreement. So Greenland would have to have its own plebiscite. It would have to decide voluntarily it no longer wants to be under Denmark. And in their constitutional agreement they made, they can do that. Greenland can decide it no longer wants the agreement with Denmark. It can do so. It would have to agree with that and then agree to join America. Then I think the Senate, I forgot which house, would have to agree that they will become a territory. They would not become a state automatically. That's not how that works. They become a territory. They would have to apply for statehood. And I think it's the Senate. It might be, I think maybe it's, I forgot which one. It might be Congress. I forgot. It might be the House. One of the houses, whichever of them, I forgot which one it is, has to decide on statehood. So they would have to first say they don't want to be part of Denmark anymore with the plebiscite. Then we would have to agree to bring them on as a territory. Then they would have to apply for statehood if they wanted it. They don't have to become a state. They could just say, we're going to stay a territory of America, in which case America would own them like we own Puerto Rico, right? Same idea. Now, Puerto Rico, if it wants to, can apply for statehood, or it can just stay a territory. Guam, too, same thing. We would have them like we'd have Guam. It'd be U.S. territory. If they wanted to apply for statehood, they could. Why would they? Well, they would be under the American protection, right? So of invasion or whatever, they are in American territory. They would be able to, they're American citizens at that point. All Greenlanders would become American citizens. It's about 50,000 Greenlanders, I think, 50K, give or take. They'd become their own, they'd become American citizens. And that's what they would have to decide. Do they want to stay a territory like Puerto Rico? Do they want to become a state? That's how that would work. Hope that answers your question. The benefit they would have is that, but what they could do is what Alaska does. And what that means is America could very easily get in there and take advantage of all their natural resources. We have the cash and the skill set. They personally don't have it. The 50,000 people who live in Greenland do not have the cash or the resources to take advantage of their resources. They don't have the skill set, the money, the equipment. They physically don't have it. Denmark is a small country. People don't realize it's only 5 million people in Denmark. Tiny country. There's more people in New York City than there are in the entire country of Denmark. So they don't have it either. So they can't do it. But America could. So what Greenland could do to help out Greenlanders is say, hey, come take advantage of all of our resources, but pay all the Greenlanders a cut, like Alaska does. Alaska pays its citizens a cut from their oil reserves. Greenland could create the same type of thing and say, pay us a cut. And then Greenland could create 2 things, a check to their people plus a sovereign wealth fund. That is what I would do if I was a Greenlander. If I'm a Greenlander, I'd become American. I wouldn't think twice. I would absolutely become American if I was a Greenlander. And I would absolutely make a deal to get a check to my people and a sovereign fund for Greenland. Because then I can say, you get a bomb, you get healthcare, you get healthcare, you get healthcare. Why? Because I got a sovereign fund. Socialism is amazing when you got somebody else's money. You have someone else's money, socialism is great. So I'll get someone else's money and we can all be socialists because we got someone else's money. That's when it's awesome. So anyway, hope that answered your question. I went long, but I tend to go long. It's kind of my thing. So, all righty. Let me grab some more of these if I could. Shelley says, thoughts on Hochul wanting to ban cell phones for kids in schools. She claims it's keeping kids from learning, nothing to do with the lockdowns. I think kids are ratting out bad stuff in schools. I don't have a problem. I have a problem with the governor making the mandate. I don't have a problem with local schools doing it, right? I don't. If local schools think they don't want kids to have the phones during the day, I don't care. It's fine. Let local schools do what they think is appropriate. I don't like the government deciding that. I'm sure some parents would be very happy with their kids not having, and some wouldn't. Let the parents deal with their schools where they see fit. That should be a local answer. So I'm not against it. If local schools think it's right, I'm against the governor mandating it. But yeah, it's fine. If school districts think that's the way to do it, I'm okay with that. Totally okay with that if they believe that. No worries whatsoever. So, all right. Yusuf says, Larry, did you see the Fox News report from the Bush era about Amdocs? No, this I didn't see. So I have to go check it out. You gave me the Amdocs. I don't know that one. I have to check that one out. I don't know. So yes. Mike says, Ed Laura, Greenland can't be independent, not subsidiary. That's why they came back. Yes, Mike's correct. Yes, absolutely. Yep. U.S. just needs minerals. Base is a bonus, so a deal is fine. Agreed. I don't think it's a bad deal. I think Mike's correct here 100%. This is not a bad deal, right? Again, if it was me, I think it's awesome. He says if they become a state, yeah, I'm not sure they should become a state. To be forward, if I was a Greenlander, I don't think I'd become a state unless they could somehow give me some. It'd be nice to have 2 senators, I guess. But I'm saying I don't know, because 50,000 people, you'd know your senator personally. That'd be kind of cool, I guess. But I don't know. I'd want a deal for a sovereign fund and a check for my people, and then whatever else. And now America has to protect me. Put a naval base on there. I'd have a naval base. I'd have a Marine base. I'd be ranking. I would, if I was a Greenland, I'd be grifting off the American government. It's no tomorrow. I don't know why I'd even want to be a state. I think you're right, Mike. I don't know why. I mean, maybe. I don't know. He thinks the quality of life may be a massive. I don't think so. If it become a state, I think they can have a great quality of life just as a territory. I mean, Guam's pretty good. They have a territory. I don't know. Anyway, I'm not sure, but I get what you're saying. I think it's a fine deal. I don't have a problem at all. If I was a Greenlander, I would take the deal. Well, I would negotiate the right deal if I was a Greenlander. I would. So yes, we'll see. All right. Matt says, Larry, you said your daughter is an excellent baker. She is. But I was thinking she's keto too. She is. What kind of baking does she do? Keto baking. That's all she does. She makes keto apple pie. I'm not joking. She makes keto scones. Yep. All keto, 100%. I got thinking about it. She must not be doing traditional baked goods. She's not. You're correct. She does only keto. And she usually just goes online, looks for keto recipes, goes out and buys the stuff to do it, and she makes keto everything. I found out you make keto apple pie actually with zucchini. Yes. She's made raspberries. She's made a bunch of different things. Cookies. Yeah. She made chocolate chip cookies, keto chocolate chip cookies. Yes. So yeah, she does that. Absolutely. Shelly says, I've been smoke-free for 9 months, but still use nicotine pouches. Not many, but still using them. Hey, look, every change you can make is awesome. It's great. These changes are good, right? This is a good thing. Yes, absolutely. IC says, I have to have carbs. When I did keto, I had the worst female symptoms. My daughter has the opposite. Perfect on keto. Exactly opposite. I'm telling you, people are different. Some people have to have more carbs, some less. And you also, it's like anything else, right? You got to find the right level for you and the right amount of fat also. So yes, it's all of those. Yes. All righty. All righty. Mike says, I'm reminded I am owed cookies. Did I? Ooh. At Larry and Mike just reminded me what time I'm going to get. I better to the barber tonight. I better do that. Yes, absolutely. Ingrid says, on keto after watch the fat, I have no gallbladder. Ooh, there we go. Could be that. Yeah, there we go. Got to worry about that. Gene says, UPMC in Southwestern Pennsylvania is a hospital which has its own insurance. It is such a conflict of interest. Yep, there's another issue. UPMC gets the insurance premiums as well as the co-payments and deductibles. The biggest competitor is Allegheny Health System. Before UPMC got into the health insurance business, people could go to any hospital for care and insurance would cover it. Now, if I need health care, I can only have my insurance cover the expense of the care provider is in the right network. Yes, right. There's the issue. I think it can be done, but there's a lot of things to hammer out. It's not as easy as one might think. So yeah, not as easy. Joel says, I use Himalayan or Celtic salt with all the minerals in it. Me too. I'm a big Himalayan guy. I'm with you. I'm a big Himalayan salt guy. That is true. I am. So, all righty. Phil says, I always thought that the USS Liberty was more like the Gulf of Tonkin, an attempt to use the war. It was that too. It was. Yes. Phil says, I think loyalty is a way to avoid backstabbing. Yes and yes. I feel it. I do. Yes. Laura says, does Marianne Williamson have a base? She does. She does have a base. I know I've met her before. We've had dinner together. She's a wonderful person. Far further left than I am, but she's a true believer. If you ever met her, I don't know if you've ever met her, Laura. She's a true believer. She She actually wants to make things better. She actually cares about people. She wants to make things better, but she honestly believes, true believer. She thinks the answer is left, left, more left, more left. She honestly believes that. But she's not a grifter. She's not a sellout at all. That's not who she is. She is a true believer. Yes, that's why she's on Rising now with Robbie Sobe. She's great. Yeah. So she does have a base. It's not huge, but she does have one. Yes, absolutely. Straight End says, thanks for the great show. Both the House representatives and the Senate must pass an enabling act or a statehood bill as progressed. Thank you. There it was both of them. That's why I couldn't figure out which one. Thank you, Straight End. I was like, which one is it? It's both. There we go. So both have to do it. I appreciate that. Yeah, thank you guys. You guys are great. I appreciate you doing that. That's amazing. You guys always figure this out for me. I appreciate it. Yes. All right. Mike says, not one prediction by climatologists has been correct since 1958. Yep, not one. Lots of predictions, famine, winter, warming, generic change. All theorems have failed. It's unscientific to act on latest guess. Agreed. I don't know what climate change actually is. I actually don't. Is it getting warmer? Is not? Here's what I know. The ice in the Arctic is melting. Is that temporary? Is that man-made? Is that long? I don't know. It's melting. That I know, we can see it. And people want to go there and get the goodies. That's what I know. I don't know about the rest. That I know. Shelly goes, correct, Mike. Johnson agrees. You got fans, Mike. You got fans. But all I do know is that is happening. So yes. Ingrid said, Greenland should become a province of Canada. Oh, would that piss off Trump? Ingrid, he'd be so pissed. He'd be so pissed. You're right. Sorry, I got a frog in my throat all of a sudden. Yeah, absolutely. Sorry. Laura says, thanks, Larry. I will keep searching up the shows. Yeah. She's on Rising now. And she's actually a good person. Again, if you meet her, you will like her. She's very likable. And boy, she likes to, she will talk to you. If you meet her someplace, she will literally chat with you. She'll talk you up. She'll have conversation with you. She will just talk to you. She's not, what's the word I'm looking for? She's not stuck up at all. She's very down to earth. You really can just chat with her, which I think is great. So I'm a fan of her personally. I am. I'm a fan. Yes. Matt says, can confirm the rural areas have huge Trump banners and signs and stuff. Yes, 100%. That piece is huge. That piece is absolutely huge. Yes. All righty. See here. Smite says, what are your thoughts on the Alberta separation movement and the possibility of them joining America? They will not join America. However, it does go to show there are chunks of people who would want to join America. And something else. People assume that if Canada were to somehow join America, if that were to happen in some way, shape, or form, that they would become one state, right? Trump is joking, going, Canada, America's state, right? 51st state. Canada would be at least 5 states, if not 10 or 13. Right now, Canada is, I think, 10 provinces. I said 13 provinces once. You guys got mad at me because it was like territories, like 10 provinces and 3 territories. So those would probably come over in some way, shape, or form. In something similar to that probably happen. And Canada is similar to America in that the edges are more blue and the center is more red. Alberta is towards the center. It's more anti the blue side and we want to come to America. So yeah, I think I get that. I don't see it happening, but it just goes to show there are some Canadians who'd want to come and become American. I think some Greenlanders do want to become American. I think some do. And so we'll see. So yes, Andrea says she's not pompous. Correct. Yes, absolutely. So there we go. I think that was helpful for that piece. Guys, I want to ask one more time if I could. Please, guys, click the button known as like. I know I've asked you more than once. It does matter. Please do that if you would. Every single like counts and matters. If you have not shared this, repost this someplace, please share it or repost it someplace. It does matter. If you have not subscribed to the Sharpe Way YouTube page, please go over to the Sharpe Way YouTube page and subscribe, and go to the post or community tab and you will see there's a poll there. Answer that poll. I'm seeing if people would like me to actually do more reaction videos that you guys send in for me to actually pick, where it could be on any topic, reaction stuff. I know it's very popular. If people want me to do it. So I'm asking a poll. If you'd like to do so, please do that. It does help. Thank you all for your super chats. I appreciate them. And the Rumble rants, they're great. If you want to become a member to support the show, please do so. Remember, members can come on the show every month or so. I have a member show where members come on the show. Happened just earlier this week. I'm doing another one in about a month, so you can do that also. Members also able to give me the actual the topics that we're going to be talking about too. So please do it also. And if you want to become a member on Rumble, it's okay. Click subscribe during the live to do so. That would also be great. I'm looking over at Rumble, and T-Baggin says there's also a video of a man who was on the USS Liberty who goes in detail what happened to the crew. It's really insane how those men were treated by our Navy. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. They're not our friend. So yeah, they're not our friend. And I know people think they are, but they have their own issues, their own everything. And I get it. I'm not mad at them for it. Right? Each country should care about itself. I understand completely. Guys, I want to say thank you so much for tonight. I appreciate all the time you gave me. I hope it was interesting for you. As always, at Lily's AMAs, I ask for you to give me all types of questions. You do. I try to answer them to the best of my ability. I go long sometimes, I know, but that's great. In addition, though, I will not be on tomorrow, but I will be on Rumble only on Sunday. I will post here and my other social media how to get there, and on Rumble on Sunday only at 6 or 7 p.m. I'm not sure. I will also be on Monday and also Tuesday, so back on. I'm just off tomorrow only. Do me one small favor, if you would. In the comments, if you don't mind, if you put in the comments, once this is over, right? Again, once it's over, if you could put in the comments, what country you think might want to become American? What country or countries you think might want to actually become American territories or American states? I will see you all very soon.